It's Friday, everyone. What do we do on Fridays here at the Hint Hive? That's right, we smash the patriarchy. Hello, friends of the Hive. Welcome back to the Hint Hive, Amplifying Women's Voices. I'm your host, Kelly Hint, Queen Bee of this Hive, psychotherapist, and feminist life coach. Today, we're diving into a movement that is reshaping the way women connect, resist, and rise together. Digital feminism. Yeah, we're talking hashtags, online communities, viral campaigns, and the powerful way women are reclaiming digital space to demand justice, equality, and empowerment. Now, I know some people hear digital feminism and roll their eyes, as if activism that happens online doesn't count. But let's get real. The internet has become one of the most impactful battlegrounds for feminist thought and collective action in the 21st century. It's where stories once silenced are shouted across the globe. It's where women build solidarity and spark movements with nothing but a smartphone in their hands. So, what exactly is digital feminism? Well, digital feminism refers to feminist activism and empowerment strategies that happen online through social media, blogs, podcasts, online collectives, and virtual communities. Think about hashtag #MeToo, hashtag Time's Up, hashtag Bring Back Our Girls, and hashtag Say Her Name. These were not just trending hashtags. They were revolutions with keyboards as the catalyst. They amplified voices that were ignored in mainstream media, and they forced governments, corporations, and institutions to reckon with women's lived experiences. One fascinating fact. According to research published in Feminist Media Studies, digital platforms have drastically reduced the barriers to activism, especially for women who might not have access to traditional organizing spaces. Women in rural areas, women with disabilities, women balancing childcare, women living under oppressive governments. They can still join the movement, often anonymously and safely, through online channels. In many ways, this democratizes activism. Democratizes. Is that a word? I hope it is. If not, I just made it one. The point is, you do not need to live in a capital city. You do not need to have boatloads of money or even any money. And you don't need a megaphone to make your voice heard. All you need is a connection and the courage to speak up. But let's not romanticize this. The digital world can be brutal, a double-edged sword. Women face disproportionate levels of online harassment, doxing, trolling, and even death threats. Studies from Pew Research show that women, particularly women of color, are targeted far more often with online abuse. Online misogyny has become a tool for silencing women. I know this firsthand. I've discussed in prior episodes how I have had my own share of threats from men because I have the nerve to speak up. And let's be clear. When women are threatened online, it's not just the internet. The fear, stress, and trauma are real. And in some cases, online harassment escalates into offline danger. And yes, I feel very fortunate that I have not dealt with offline danger because of this podcast. But let me tell you, I've dealt with enough online BS because of it. So, yes, digital feminism gives us power. but it also exposes us to new risks. And that's something that each one of us has to determine for ourselves what level of risk we're willing to take. Because the fight isn't just about amplifying women's voices. It's also about protecting them. That means pushing tech companies to create safer platforms, holding trolls accountable, and supporting each other when attacks happen. One of the reasons that I deleted my TikTok account was because they refused to hold the men accountable who were threatening my life and sexually harassing me. And I personally and professionally refuse to use a platform that punishes me for my feminist views, but allows misogynists to threaten and harass me without punishment. But let me be clear, I do not judge you for using platforms that I refuse to use. We all have different thresholds, tolerances, and experiences, and I respect the autonomy of people making their own decisions accordingly. Imagine if women were treated like that by everyone. Like we have choices, right? Sorry, not going there today. So let's talk about why digital feminism matters. I mean, here's why this movement is so badass. It's accessible. You do not need to attend a rally in DC to make your voice heard. You can amplify change from your living room. That is so incredibly awesome to me in this day and age. And I know other people of my generation and older have these feelings. Some of the younger generations listening to this has always been your norm, right? But it hasn't been mine. Growing up in the world, I did not have the internet. And so, I mean, hell, I didn't have a lot of the information that I have today because, misogyny was just accepted and women being less than it was just accepted and nobody was rallying together in my neighborhood, right? But then the internet comes along and all of a sudden I am connected to people from literally around the world. And it's the coolest thing ever. Because this kind of accessibility, it matters for moms, for caretakers, for disabled folks, and anyone who doesn't have the luxury of dropping everything to join a march. I mean, my physical health limitations have devastatingly limited me at times. Do you know what I would have given to be at some of these rallies in DC? Oh my gosh, it's like the stuff that my dreams are made of. I know I have sad, small, pathetic dreams at times, right? I promise I dream about more than just being at a rally in DC. But I've wanted to go, but unfortunately, every stinking time they have a rally in the winter, I can't go because my lupus says, yeah, no, if you do this, you're going to be laid up for a month. And sorry, friends, but girls got to be able to work. So the other piece that I feel is that the digital feminism movement, like, it's so diverse. Like, and I think that is so awesome, so badass, because unlike traditional feminist spaces that often excluded women of color, queer women, and working class women, digital spaces are creating more room for intersectional feminism. That's my brand. That's the type of feminism that I really gravitate towards. Instagram pages, Facebook accounts, and Twitter threads are giving space to voices that were pushed to the margins. And yes, I know that Twitter is now called X, but if Elon Musk can insist on dead-naming our transgender population, then I can certainly refuse to use his preferred company name. Okay, thanks, bye. Moving on. Clearly, I've got a little bit of snark in my step today. The other thing that I love about digital feminism is that it's fast and it's global. So when something happens in one corner of the world, Women everywhere can rally within hours. That is so cool to me. Look at how quickly the news of Mahsa Amini's death in Iran sparked a global wave of feminist solidarity online. That kind of speed was unthinkable for earlier movements. Like I said, that kind of speed was impossible when I was growing up. You know, things moved at the speed of snail back in the day. So this is why, again, I know I'm aging myself so much here, but I don't care. I'm excited about the connection that the digital world affords us, despite the fact that it also affords dangers. You know, got to take the good with the bad, right? And of course, one of the reasons why I love digital feminism is that it builds community. Beyond activism, digital feminism creates sisterhood. From private Facebook groups, online forums, to digital circles, providing spaces for women to vent, heal, and strategize together. This is what I was talking about in my last episode, the Halloween episode. We need our sisterhood. We need our safe spaces to be ourselves, build one another up, and plan our world domination. Haha, kidding. But am I? Anyway, the digital movement can create the relationships that we need to move forward together. All right. Now, you might be wondering, okay, Kelly, I get it. Digital feminism is powerful, but how do I get involved in a way that actually matters? Well, let's break it down with my favorite section here, actionable steps. So, the first step, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Curate your feed intentionally. Follow activists, educators, and feminist creators who challenge you, uplift you, and inform you. And then unfollow those accounts that drain your energy or perpetuate misogyny. Because your feed should empower you, not exhaust you. And I know lately the digital world is incredibly exhausting, especially because of politics. And I'm not advocating to create echo chambers where we're just bouncing the same ideas off of each other and never learning and growing. No, not at all. I'm simply saying unfollow the people that drain you. It's very different. We can learn and grow by following people we don't always agree with, but it can be done in a way that isn't draining. Because if people are screaming at you all day that you're wrong and you need to think like them, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the unfollows right there. And then the next step, I encourage you to engage beyond the like button. Don't just like a post about violence against women. Share it. Comment on it. Start a conversation about it in your circle. Don't let it die with a like button. Visibility fuels momentum. When you engage actively, you are telling the algorithms, this matters. Show it to more people. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great to hit the like button and support the person who posted it, but we need more than that. We need to continue to inform people. We need to continue this movement of amplifying voices. Which brings me to step 3. Learn and amplify marginalized voices. Women of color, queer women, and disabled women. They often lead the way in digital activism. don't just consume their work. Amplify it. Share their posts. Credit their work. Cite them in your conversations. This is how we uplift one another. For my white listeners, we have a responsibility to use our whiteness to amplify other voices also. Because if our voices are being listened to more, then we need to bring everyone else up to the same platform. Don't just take advantage of your whiteness. Use it for good. I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but I will just say this. There's a history in this country of well-intentioned white women pushing feminism, but forgetting sisters of color. And I do not want to be part of that movement. That's why you often hear me do quotes of the week from women all across the world, all across races. I don't want this podcast is not about amplifying white voices. It's about amplifying women's voices, and that includes women from all walks of life. All right. Excuse me while I climb down off of my soapbox. All right. Step number 4. This one's important. Protect yourself online. If you're going to be part of the digital feminism movement, you've got to protect yourself. Use strong passwords. Enable 2-factor authentication. And do not be afraid to block, mute, and report harassers. And let's normalize this. Protecting your digital space is not being too sensitive. It's being smart. And you might want to take it a step further like I did and choose not to use platforms that do not protect you. I just won't do it. I've had enough trauma in my life to refuse to enable any further. So, yeah. That's enough of that one. Step number 5, bring online action offline. This looks like signing the petition, donating to the cause, showing up at the rally, writing your local representative. Because don't get me wrong, digital movements are powerful, but they're most effective when paired with real world change. So do what you can. Again, you don't have to do it all. You don't have to attend the rally in DC if you live across the country or even an hour away. But there are things you can do locally also to back up that action. And the last step, practice critical thinking. I cannot emphasize this enough. It feels like critical thought is becoming a lost art. And I'm very, very, very concerned about this. Not every post is accurate, and misinformation can spread fast. Just like the benefits of digital feminism are the speed of knowledge, unfortunately, the other side of that is the speed of misinformation. So cross-check sources, especially before sharing. Being digitally responsible is part of feminist activism. And I know we do not have the time in our lives to dive into deep research on every meme or post. So sometimes what I will do is I will just be very transparent and I'll put it out there. I haven't fact-checked this, but this is what this says. Which is often why I don't share things that need to be fact-checked so extensively. I just don't have that kind of damn time in my life. So, speaking of, this is a great segue into digital fatigue, the shadow side of digital feminism. Because let's be honest, Digital activism can burn us out. Doom scrolling through injustice at midnight is not empowerment. It is depletion. Activism should not leave you emotionally bankrupt. So here's your permission slip to log off sometimes. Take breaks. Touch grass. Call a friend. Read a book written by a feminist before hashtags even existed. As I've said in a prior episode, rest is a radical act of resistance. Do it. Be self-aware and know your limitations. Have some self-love for yourself and take a break. Think about setting boundaries for yourself. I don't think I've said the word boundaries in a couple episodes. Wow. So here we go. Boundaries. Set some screen time limits, intentional breaks from social apps, or scheduling time to consume feminist media in healthier ways. Because staying in the fight requires stamina, and that stamina is built on rest. All right, that brings me to our quote of the week. And this one comes from another queen bee, the original queen bee herself, Beyoncé, who said, "Your self-worth is determined by you. You don't have to depend on someone telling you who you are." That is the heartbeat of digital feminism, isn't it? We get to define our own lives. We get to determine who we are. We do not need anyone telling us who to be. Online spaces remind us that our struggles are interconnected, that our liberation is bound together, and that we can't just fight for ourselves. We fight for each other. And digital tools, when used with intention, allow us to live out Beyoncé's words on a global scale through our connection to other badass babes like ourselves. All right, Hive, let's wrap this up. Here is my challenge to you this week. Use your online space as a feminist act. Whether it's sharing an article about reproductive justice, amplifying a woman-owned business, or shutting down misogynistic nonsense in a comment section. Decide that your digital presence matters, because it does. Every post, every share, every comment is a seed of resistance. And now, my call to action to you. If you loved today's episode, share it online. Post it in your group chat. Drop it in your Facebook feed. Tweet it out with your own empowered tag. And of course, tag me so I can cheer you on. And beyond that, join a digital feminist space that resonates with you. Whether it's a support group, a campaign hub, or even the Hint Hive's own Facebook community, don't just listen, connect. Because here's the truth. The rise of digital feminism isn't just about hashtags. It's about women around the globe refusing to be silenced and finding strength in connection. The revolution is happening right here on your screen, and you get to choose whether you're a passive scroller or an active force for change. All right, Hive, that's it for today. Stay bold, stay loud, and remember, you are the revolution. Until next time, this is Kelly Hint signing off from the Hint Hive, amplifying women's voices. This podcast is powered by Kelly Hint Empowerment Coaching, as well as Kelly M. Hint LMHC and The Cranky Counselor. To find out more about coaching services, head over to CoachKellyHint.com. If you'd like to know more about the psychotherapy services I offer to individuals within the state of New York, you can check out KellyMHint.com. And if you'd like to learn more about aromatherapy, you can check out TheCrankyCounselor.com.